Hello, and welcome to Beyond the Bell, where we talk about educational leadership and student growth. I'm Tiffany Dixon, the assistant principal.
I'm Tim Hardegree, a principal.
And last week we talked about culture and our purpose, and we had a guest on last
We
week.
did.
And so this week we're going to start diving into data. We're actually coming to you from our brand new data space. And we meet in here each week where we have our leadership meetings, but it's also where we hold all of our student data that we track. Because, and the reason why, you don't just have data to fill up spreadsheets.
That's right.
You have data for a purpose. You have it to drive instruction, which is the main thing that we use our data for. And I've got a sticker that I keep on my computer that says, without data, you're just another person with an opinion.
And that's exactly right. The first week we talked about leading with a purpose. Last week we talked about culture. Now data flows in as our third component, which kind of ties all this together because as we all know, and as I know working with you for many years now, data is important and data drives the school. And as you take that data, you have to understand that there's several ways in which to approach your data. Now you can ruthless equity style and basically put 30 kids into a classroom hoping to feed off of one another. But I think the most effective way in which we saw this was to take our data and group our kids in a manner in which, as the old saying goes, iron sharpens iron. Let's put those kids in there to work off of each other because don't you agree when it comes to initializing our data and growing kids? Typical kids that are put together, universal kids, are going to grow as a one, as a pack.
Yes, I do agree. And I'm really speaking to educators and leaders out there who may feel like they don't have this special population that they can feed on to help their school grow and achieve. But that's not true. As we've spoken about before, Mr. Hardegree actually created a group here at our high school that we've been tracking. This will be year 3.
That's right.
And the great thing about it is we didn't have those pre AP, IB students. We have honor students. We have students who participate in dual enrollment, but we didn't have that specialized pocket of students that those are going to be the students that get me the score I need. So we created a program and we track those students and we use them just as if they were IB students, if they were AP students. And so this will be year 3 for that. Would you like to speak more about the BOSS program?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a program where, of course, kids have to apply. Not only do they apply from our feeder pattern first, but we've received quite a bit of attention on this because the BOSS program is a little bit different from all the other accelerated honors programs throughout the county in which we work in. The BOSS program is applied. You are selected. You are put into a group of students. In our case, that could be 25 we started with. Now we might have 27 or 28 because our numbers have grown versus the number of kids who are applying. So those particular kids are in a class all day together. They travel together. Basically they're sheltered together. They move amongst the building as one. They take trips as one. So they're treated as a select group of honors kids who are expected to hold themselves accountable. And then also they're expected to drive each other to the degree in which now with our third year, they can promote our ACT success based off the number of kids in there and how they've grown. I think that's very important because just within our school, as we came into the school, we talked about it. We had no real big honors program. We had a little bit of dual enrollment, but we didn't have an honors sector to pull off of or to offer the incoming kids who live within our district who may not be able to travel somewhere else to join another accelerated honors program. So we built that within our own school. And we feel like these 25 kids who are coming up, or maybe 27 kids coming up to go into the 11th grade, are going to be able to push our ACT scores a little bit higher than what they are. So now going in year 3, we have 75 potential BOSS kids coming into the school.
And I think it's also important too. I just want to address a few things before we move on. When you're talking about creating a pocket of students to help carry a school, you're not saying that the other students don't lend to it because they are also exposed to the same, preps and things of that nature. But we made this group special by giving them special T-shirts, letting them take special field trips, letting them have special privileges,
That's
because we
right.
wanted to make it something above and beyond. But we, besides those groups of students, we have a great base of students who are in regular education classes who do well as also.
Absolutely.
Then we also have students that are in honors classes but not in boss, that are also, help us a lot too. We just wanted to see if we could create that special, group
That's right.
like other schools have with AP and IB. Now, the freshman year, as Mr. Hardegree said, the students travel together all day long. In the 10th grade, because we only use them for 2 years, and the reason being is because their interests get so broad by the time they're juniors in high school that you can't keep them together,
That's right.
because there's too many options for them when they become juniors. So we figured that we could at least track them through ninth and 10th grade, keep them together some sort of way, help them build these memorable relationships with teachers and with students. And we did a pre-survey when the students
Mm-hmm.
came in, and we will do a post survey at the end of their 10th grade year, just to see what we need to tweak, what we need to change. Along with that, we have parent meetings as well. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that we do to create something special
That's right.
within that group of students. Now, in the 10th grade, because we can't keep them together in electives, in 10th grade, we just keep them together in core classes, as well as in their ACT prep classes,
That's right.
because we want to make sure that it's consistent, that you're getting the same thing that I am getting. Now, one thing we've talked about changing, and this is all important because it'll lead to our data talk. One thing that we have discussed possibly changing for the 27-28 school year is that we may only keep 10th grade together in ACT prep, because either that, or because they have options in history in the 10th grade, which just
Right.
makes it a little difficult, or require everyone to take dual enrollment history. So we've got plenty of time to discuss that. We didn't want
Right.
to start that this year because we already had our schedules in place when we started talking about it. And as Mr. Hardegreen and I've talked about many times, we never stop something midstream.
That's right.
We tweak, always tweak. We may
Yep.
add a little something, but we're never going to say, nope, stop. We're going to start all over right
That's
here.
right. I think we did something really unique this year that a lot of parents are going to really appreciate. Like many communities out there, they send their best to us. Okay, our community sends their best to us, regardless of their economic impact. So what we thought of, because we were always thinking, one, the BOSS program came in, but we also started thinking about developing an honors program with those kids who might be in regular, who aren't getting pushed,
Yes.
because there's other kids in the class that may be holding them back based off their discipline. So what we've done, we've taken some of those students out of those classes via the recommendation of their teachers, and we've placed them in an honors class to give them a little bit of extra push. So not only have we created a BOSS program, but now we're going to create an accelerated honors program for 10th and 11th grade, because like Ms. Dixon said, I mean, we can't get all those kids in classes because of their electives and what they're doing outside of school, and their sports and their academics and their other classes that they have to take. So don't feel like that just because you don't have an IB or an EPIC program or a college program within your school, that you can't go in there and design a platform to excel with the students that you have. Everybody sends their best, but you know what? I'm going to take their best. I'm going to put them in a class and push them even harder. So those are a couple of ways just within your school that you can take it, and you can develop honors kids, and you can have kids feed off of one another and challenge one another and grow one another.
And that creates that mindset within our students that they are all capable of being,
Absolutely,
honors in advance. And it's really great. So that is, as you were saying, the freshman teachers, they really look at the students their freshman year to decide who is a regular student who needs to be pushed some.
That's right.
Because of course students will get comfortable and just do what's easy, but we
That's
want
right.
our students to always excel and go above and beyond. So this will be the first year that we have tried this scenario,
right.
and we're going to see how it does this year. But we've got so many students who are capable of so much at
Oh,
our
absolutely.
school.
We have so many good students who are growing, and they're becoming successful, and they're gaining confidence. And that's the biggest indicator when it comes to academics.
Yes.
Can they gain that confidence to grow? Now let's switch gears just a little bit. Let's talk about our data room, because as it goes in many years, I've leaned on you for data. I've leaned on you for data ideas. We're sitting in a data room. We're sitting in a conference room. Let's explain a few things that we have to look at, because when it comes to your data, you got to face it, good, bad, or indifferent. If that data says bad, then address it. If that data says good, try to maintain it. So let's talk about our data room.
All right, so number one, everyone needs an attendance wall in your data room. And the reason being is because, like I said, this is for everyone, not just the state of Alabama. You could be in another state. Everyone has accountability.
Mm-hmm.
If attendance is one of your accountability pieces, you need to track your attendance. So we have an attendance wall where we track attendance weekly, because we have a weekly meeting with our attendance clerk who is fabulous and she does a great job.
Right.
And we actually take that attendance and see who, hasn't been here. And it's so funny because we know the names when we hear them. And Mr. Hardegree and I will do home visits based off of those lists if we haven't seen them, because it's not, you can't sit inside of a schoolhouse and make decisions. Sometimes you got to get out amongst the people in the community to pull your students back in. And you know what? It's also a great engagement and relationship piece.
If you are on campus, come to our office, please. Thank you.
And it's a great way to get out into the community. I know we've done several home visits where the people are like, y'all actually come out and see people. It's important. So attendance needs to be.
Every child matters.
Every child matters. And we have gotten our students back in the building by doing that. So if attendance is an accountability piece for you, you need to be tracking attendance. Even if it's not an accountability piece, you still need to be tracking attendance, because that's the way you know who's in the building and who's not. Right. And you want all students to be successful and excel. So that's important. So we have an attendance wall.
That's right. And keep in mind, that doesn't cost a penny. Mm-hmm. Just to show some effort and have a great attendance clerk who stays on top of it. You'll be surprised how a phone call, a home visit, a knock on the door, I'm looking forward to you, I want you to come back. Went to QT's the other day at the gas station and pulled a kid out of QT to come to school.
Yeah.
But that little bit right there said, hey, they care about me.
And when we go to the QT, we have a lot of students. They love to see us come in.
A lot of students work at the QT.
Guess what? They're not shocked to see us in the community. We get out amongst the people in the community. Another big thing that we have in our data room that you may not, this will be a preference for the school, is we track failures.
Absolutely.
In our school each quarter. We track by teacher and by subject.
That's
so
right.
We break it down two ways. And it's not to say, and we have meetings. So what we do is we track, like I said, academics, like quarterly grades, failures. Yeah. And whoever the three highest teachers are with failures within our school, we meet with them individually just to see what the issue is and how we can assist to improve those academics in the classroom. And that has done wonders as well. So we get a chance to look at it, because a lot of people really, if I ask some people, well, what do your failures look like in your school and how are you addressing them? It's not a got you, it's how do we address it to improve it?
That's right.
A lot of people say, well, I never thought about tracking that.
Remember, some people avoid that because it's an uncomfortable situation. It's an uncomfortable conversation. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
When you have to call someone in and you have to talk to them about failures, because the failures on this side may mean that, hey, we're failing on this side, and that could be farther from the truth. Mm-hmm. But if you let that linger for an entire quarter, an entire semester, look, that's going to cause you more problems than what you really want. So go ahead and address it immediately. Address it within your first 6-9 weeks, especially that first quarter. And then maybe you'll get the point across, or maybe they'll understand, hey, we need some focus. We need to pull those kids in and address them.
Yeah, and the great thing about it is and it's not really to make a teacher aware. A teacher knows what's going on in her classroom. But it also gives her the confidence to lean on us to assist her if she starts having, those kind of issues with students not doing as well in her class as she would expect them to do.
Absolutely.
So believe it or not, it's important for two reasons. It helps you assist teachers and improve maybe what their platform in their classroom. And it gives you a quick look at you. You don't even have to guess. If somebody said, hey, how many students failed geometry first quarter or second quarter or third quarter? All you have to do is look up at the wall and you know exactly how many failed and what teacher that they had too. So that's important. So think about that if you do not have that within your school, because it really will help you.
That's right.
Another thing, I think one of the most important things, and when you're talking about accountability, is off cohort students. Now, let me explain what a cohort is, just in case some of you are aspiring leaders and do not know. A cohort is a group of students who start in grade 9 together and travel together each year and graduate 4 years after they start in the 9th grade. That is a cohort. So any student who is supposed to be a 10th grader but doesn't have enough credits or failed required subjects to be promoted, then they will still be a ninth grader.
Mm-hmm.
That student will be considered off cohort. And we track those students. And the reason being is because our job is to graduate students on time, successfully and on time, college and career ready.
Yep.
And so we really strive, and it is accountability piece for us because it's our graduation rate.
That's right.
However, it's more than that to us because we are trying to make sure that we are successful with all of our students. And I think we do a great job with that.
Absolutely.
So we track them year to year. So we go into the AIM portal, which is our state portal we pull information from, and we put it up for 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, because that would be your off cohorts. Because if they're 12th grade, that's the final, and they wouldn't be considered
right.
off cohort.
So just to rehash, as you walk into our conference room and you walk into our data room, you're looking at attendance, you're looking at failures, you're looking at off cohort, looking at dropouts. So you're seeing these with your own eyes. So you have to address those every single week so that they don't get away from you. So what's another thing we put in our data room that's pretty important?
Okay, well, we put our report card data up, that our score from each year. And the reason being, again, because this is a quick reference guide, you get involved in so much. Sometimes you might go, oh gosh, I forgot. Was it 71 or 72? Or was it an 84 or an 85? So we keep it where all we have to do is just look at the wall, and we put it in graph form. So it helps us track that. That's also very useful. Now, one of the main things we've done and this is the reason why I mentioned the BOSS program earlier, is we have separated the data for BOSS students. So we track their pre-ACT in the 9th grade to their pre-ACT in the 10th grade, their mastery prep testing that they have done beginning, middle, end of the year since they have started. And we put that on a wall and have that information so that when we need it, they're in a separate group. So we track all of our students. Everybody gets the same thing. They just get their own special wall because sometimes we want to know just about what those students are doing, since we are doing, going above and beyond with extras for them.
That's right.
Another thing that we put in our data room, which is super important, is our CCRs. That's our college and career readiness indicators, and who has one and who does not. Now, with this being said, we only put seniors on the wall. However, we do track CCRs for all of our students. And as of last year, you could get a credential in the 9th grade.
That's right.
And so we track 9th graders, 10th graders, 11th graders, and 12th graders. Now, of course, the goal with your CCRs is no one wants to wait until their senior year to earn a credential. Everyone out there, listen, do not let a student wait until their senior year to earn a credential. By all means, you can start in the 9th grade, because it's going to make life easier for you in the long run.
As soon as you can start, make sure you get that CCR under their name, because you never know what's going to happen in the 10th grade or the 11th grade. Maybe they run on rough times and they disappear, or maybe they drop out, or maybe they move to another county, or something that could potentially affect you on your state report card. So therefore, not only are you getting hit by your graduation rate, but also your CCR. So we try to do that as early as we possibly can. And sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't, but they can't graduate without the CCR.
We also track no-shows. That's another big thing in our data room. We track no-shows. And the reason why we track no-shows is a no-show means that they never stepped on our campus.
That's right.
But they're still held under us as we're responsible for them. So we track them because if we can't find them to load and get them off of our cohort, then they count against us as dropouts.
That's right.
So we track those students as well so that we can see that, you're not supposed to have no-shows. That's why we track no-shows.
I guess one of the most important things that we have in our data room that we look at every single day is our graduation rate. Because as we stepped onto campus, as the principal and you coming in as an assistant principal and previously a counselor, that we looked at our graduation rate and it was 76. We're only graduating 76% of our kids. The next year was 77. And then potentially we got a hold of it and it skyrocketed to the point where now we're sitting mid-90s, little late 90s as far as our graduation. And it just, it really set us back a lot of perplexion as far as why are we graduating so few kids? That was our concern. We're not here just to show up and clock in and go home in the afternoon. We're here to make kids successful. So, let's go back. We had our attendance, we had our graduation rate, we have our CCRs, we have our off cohort, we have our no-shows, we have our state report card. All of those things are in. We have our boss kids. All of those things are in our data room because when we come in here every Monday morning for a leadership meeting, every one of us have to look at it. It's all of our responsibilities. And we all say that everybody in your building is a leader. Mm-hmm. And if they don't consider themselves a leader in some way, shape, or form as one of the adults on campus, then you have the wrong people in place.
And with that being said, we do department meetings, and because we believe that data is so important, we require our teachers in their department meetings to talk about data. So what we like to do is provide them. Sometimes central office provides them with data. Sometimes we provide them with data, especially when we're trying to show growth and achievement on state assessments. We'll say, here's their results from their last state assessment. Look through and see what what their weaknesses were. Yep. And then let's come up with some ways that we can identify that. What surprises you most about the data? What concerns you most about the data? What do we celebrate? How do we fix it? So again, we're using data to drive instruction.
Absolutely.
And, talking with some of my math teachers yesterday, I asked them, I said, in the last 3 years, we've been very consistent. Well, we've been consistent longer than that, but, when we started from BOSS.
Right.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. We've been very consistent with what we've been doing at our school with our students. So I asked the teachers, I said, we did this, we've done that. The only thing we added last year was a writing component. Mm-hmm. What have you changed within your classroom? And believe it or not, I love having these talks with these teachers because guess what they said to me?
What'd they say?
They said, the only thing that we have changed, it's funny, you should ask, we just had this conversation. The only thing that we have changed is the setup of our assessments that we give. And I said, well, explain, tell me more. I'm intrigued. This was math I was talking to. And they said that they asked one question, like number one, this is math, open-ended. Okay. And then the second one is set up the same question, but it's multiple choice as it's set up on the ACT. I said, wow, that's great.
That's phenomenal.
That is great. So our teachers are using data because they went through data. They looked to see what they needed to work on, what they need to continue doing. Do they need to tweak something? And see, it's so amazing to see that your teachers, when they buy in, they really buy in. But they took that upon themselves to take. I never told them to, change the format of a test. They knew that it would help the students on the ACT, and that's why they did it.
That's right. We had our beginning of the week meetings this week, so we came in Monday, and I was fortunate enough to stand before our peers within our principal's retreat and accept an award on behalf of our math department, which was the highest growth in all of our county for this past year. So with that being said, our math department is consistent. And you and I have always said that if it's consistent, it's going to create movement. Okay, if you're consistent, you're going to create movement. Now, if your consistency creates a negative movement, you need to change. But if your consistency is creating positive growth, there's no reason to change.
Right.
There's no reason to change. So our math department is so excited right now. We had our PD on Wednesday within our county, and our math department was huddled up like they were in a football huddle calling a play when they were developing their games associated with the learning launch that we had on that day. So it's really exciting to see that, one, you can show progress. Two, you can follow indicators. Three, that you're addressing all the concerns within your building by walking into a data room and seeing your concerns. And then four, coming up with a plan. That is really exciting stuff right there because they put you as a leader within that building to establish instructional growth. And how are you going to do that? Well, it's not just under one person. Like I say, everybody's a leader. So you're pulling off everybody within the building. Mm-hmm. So that in and of itself has created some effective data and effective movement just for us to see. Now, when we're talking about data meetings, what are some of the things as a curriculum AP that you might want to see in your data meetings?
Oh, just what I said.
Yep.
Let me see some content. I was meeting with history teachers today because I meet with the teachers a lot.
Okay.
And we have a new department chair in history, and he came to me concerned. He was like, I'm really not sure, what kind of data you want me to look at. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, let's start off with DBQs, database questions that y'all use. I said, that's an excellent way for y'all to gauge how much students are growing in their writing.
Right.
And, and he said, oh, I think that's a great idea. I said, because what I would like to see you do is I would like to see you start comparing data. Beginning data on DBQs to where you've taught and gone through the process and then they've grown. I would like to see how the scores change.
Okay.
He said and I think that's great because, that's a way to see student growth because if you're just looking at achievement, you're looking at it all wrong.
That's right.
You have to look at growth as well as achievement. You need both of them. And I'm not talking about a report card score here. I'm talking about to see the overall picture of a student and what they're doing.
Oh, absolutely.
And another big mistake is collecting data and not doing anything with it.
Right.
We can hang data all day long and it look beautiful. And if somebody comes in, they can say, wow, y'all got data. But if we just hang a bunch of numbers on the wall and we never use it for anything, then it means nothing.
That's right. Don't go through the hassle of collecting the data if you're not going to organize it and use it effectively in the way in which you see it being used to promote student growth. I mean, we have so many platforms out there that we can plug our data in and it can give us organization, it can give us grouping, it can give us pretty charts. I mean, it can lead us in the right direction. So then how are you going to take that data and run with it?
And here's something too I would like to say. Now, we do like to put pretty charts on the wall. Okay. I won't say that. But we also put the pretty charts on the wall and manipulate them.
That's right.
Because like I said, they're real time. It's real time data. So we don't just hang a chart and then say, well, this is it for the year. You'll come in and you'll see marker all over it from where we've crossed out things, where we've grown, where we've added. When we put our seniors on the wall that have CCRs and we put what it's in, if we have anyone, which of course we will have some students who don't have a credential. I mean, that's just, it happens. And so we will track those students, but when they earn those credentials, we come in and we put it on the board. So everything's in real time. It's all usable and it's nothing that's just pretty and fluffy.
That's right.
It's actual real data that we manipulate.
You know what I liked about what you did over the past 3 years is that you came in and you never shy away from the data, but you've created the data room. You've created what's in the data room, but you've gone beyond that into the hallways to put data up on boards that you have to look at. You have to address that. It's like us as individuals stepping on the scale every day. You have to look at it and you either address it or you don't. It either gets worse or it gets better. But in the hallway, if you're looking at it and it's not what you want, we have to address it.
Right.
The expectations from me all the way down, that they have to be. If it's not important to me, it's not going to be important to anybody else.
And in a high school, we're in a large high school, and high schools tend to get so academic focused that they forget that sometimes you need pretty too.
That's right.
So like you said, we really didn't have department bulletin boards throughout our school. And we added those. This is year 2 on that. And so they are required to put something on their bulletin board for the students that's, print friendly. It's appealing to the eye.
That's right.
And then we also require data to be on it because our students enjoy it. They like seeing their names. They like seeing growth. They be like, oh, this is my teacher here. This is where we were. Look, we've moved up this much. And I think that's important. They love it because, there's at the end of the day, they're still children.
They are, and they don't want to disappoint.
No, they don't.
And they want to. So let's talk about our challenges now as a leader, as we walk into this. And the things within data that we know, we can address. The things within data that we're going to do. You see your data, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to leave it up on the wall? Or are people going to walk in? You don't want your district office to walk into your conference room, which is where we have all our data, and they go, oh my goodness, all of this data is failure. What are y'all doing? We never want that to happen. And then when are we going to know if your data and your plans and your approaches and the things in which you're going to try to modify are actually going to work? Would you tell me years ago, how long is it going to take me? I want to flip the school in a year. And you said, nope, it's not going to take a year.
No, it takes time.
It's going to take time. And I'll be as impatient as anybody. When is it going to happen? Well, it's consistency. The kids are consistency. And I think we hit that consistency this year. And we were very, very pleased. I'm very proud of our staff and our faculty and our students for everything they've done this year. They were so incredible and so successful this year on so many different levels. So you and I were able to see that movement.
Yes.
And we were able to see some of the fruits of what we've been trying to plant.
And then in several of our departments, we have had no teacher changes.
No, you're right.
And that pays dividends too, because you're talking about the consistency within a department. And on top of that, the consistency from teacher to teacher, where I've had, these teachers every year since I've been in high school, if I mean and everyone knows. I mean that's huge. That's a
Right.
huge thing. I mean to go from having different teachers each year, and maybe you had this teacher one year, a different teacher, but we're consistent with our teachers where they teach the same classes every year, and the students know that. They know who I'm going to have, no guesses. And who
Right.
am I going to have for math this year? They already know who they're
I
going to
think
have
our
for
math and ELA departments, which are our assessment departments, we haven't hired but one teacher in the past 2 years
Yes.
in those two departments. So that's what we're talking about with the consistency.
And that says a lot for our school, too.
It does.
I mean, that says a lot for a school
Yep.
when you don't have any turnover.
We do
like
have
that.
a great school.
We
It's a
do.
great place to come to work every day. Next week as we come in, we'll talk about the advancement of this data. We'll show you the data walls. We'll show you what we have on them because it's a new year. We want to advance that. So within this podcast, we just want to share with you, some experiences that we've learned. And I think we've taken it from the start and now we're on to year 5.
Right. And the goal of a data room is not to have the prettiest data room in
Right.
the district. It's to have the most efficient, realistic data room.
That's it.
And that you can see the students behind.
Yep.
And you can see the growth.
I know.
And the
Yep. So look, let's go ahead and finish this thing up. We want you to subscribe. We want you to like. We want you to use, what we're talking about. Look, we're open. Comment, like it, subscribe it, reach out to us. We're available. We're open. We love to share. We're not egotistical. It's not ours. We took it from somebody. But the one thing we like to do, we like to, if it's not working, we like to change it. We like to fix it. We won't settle if it's not working. But if it is working, we're going to maintain that consistency.
Yes, and we always look. We want to learn too.
Absolutely.
So if you do something that you think is better than the way we do it, please, we want to get better.
Absolutely.
So tell us if you have something that works better for you.
Yeah, tell us. We're all in this together. And like I've been telling my staff all week, great educators are thieves.
Yeah.
We steal good ideas all the
That's right.
time because you're successful. We want to be successful too. But if you're doing something good, we want to take that and allow for our students to be successful as well. So this is episode 1. This is episode 3, season 1. So next week we're going to take our data and we're going to advance that. We're going to show you what we put on the wall. We'll give you an example of that, and then we'll progress this data talk.
Yeah, this is a great episode.
Absolutely. So until now, we'll see you next week.
Bye.